This is the back end of our blockchain network. We'll start out with the README file. This kind of outlines what's going on within our network. Here you can see our participants are listed out: farmer, processor, shipper, retail, and consumer. Our assets: cow, process cut, and retail cut. Our transactions: sell cow, cut up chunk, cut up meat, and sell meat. Below is kind of examples of how our network operates, but we'll run through a tutorial here in a minute. Our model file outlines what's in our assets, what's in our participants, and what's in our transactions. And the script file tells the network what to do with those transactions. So let's run through the tutorial. So the first transaction we're going to do is we're going to sell a cow from a farmer to a processor. As you can see here, farmer F5235 is selling cow 7462C to processor P5402. We'll submit that, and it submitted successfully. And here's a list of all our transactions. And you can see this one is the one we just submitted with its hash and timestamp. The next transaction we will go through is cutting up the cow into processed meat. We'll jump over and grab the code really quickly to save a bit of time. And here what it's doing is taking that cow 7462C and cutting it up into a processed meat 7427P with its weight, chunk type, temperature, its grade, and the processor who is processing it and is now the owner. Once that goes through, you can see the transaction here. Same thing, all the information with a hash and the timestamp. The next transaction we'll do is we'll cut up that processed meat into retail meat. I'll jump over and grab the code. And put it in here. And what's going on here is it's taking that processed meat 7427P and cutting it into a retail cut of 7169R, which has the type of cut, the weight, the temp, the barcode, and the QR code, which we'll use for the consumer mobile app. And for a quick, we'll just go ahead and change over the ownership to the retailer that will sell it. Submit that. And you can see that record here with the same information, hash and timestamp. And then the last transaction we'll do is we'll actually sell that meat to a consumer. Grab that, put it here. And then it's taking that retailer that we added to the cut, selling the retail cut 7169R to the consumer 1335. And so that is the same transaction, hash and timestamp. And that runs through how our blockchain network will take the cow from cow to processed meat to retail meat to sold to a consumer, all with timestamps, and have complete traceability into This is the backend. Fuck. This is the backend of our blockchain network. We'll start with the README file. This kind of outlines what's going on within our network. Here it outlines our participants, farmer, processor, shipper, retail, and consumer, our assets, cow, process cut, retail cut, our transactions, sell cow, cut up chunk, cut up meat, sell meat. Below, it's kind of examples of how to operate our network. We'll go through a tutorial here in a moment. The model file kind of outlines what's our participants, what are our assets, and what are our transactions. And the script file tells the network what to do with those transactions. Let's run through the quick tutorial. So the first transaction we will do is sell a cow. I will grab the code really quickly, just to save a little bit of time. So here what's going on is a farmer, F5235, is selling cow 7462C to processor P5402. We'll go ahead and submit that transaction, and it's submitted successfully. You can go to all transactions, see this transaction, and see what's going on. And it also has a timestamp and its hash. So the next transaction we'll run is we'll cut up that cow. So now that the processor has the cow in its ownership, we can start to process it. So we'll take that code, put it in. And what's going on here is the same cow that we just sold is being processed to 7427P, which has its weight, what type of chunk cut it is, the temp, and its grade, and the process company that is owning that asset. So we'll submit that transaction, and it shows up here with its hash and its timestamp as well, and all the information. The next transaction we'll do is we'll actually take that process cut and make it a retail cut. So I'll jump over here again and get that code. And with here, it's the same thing. We're taking that process cut and turning it into a retail cut with its cut type, weight, temp, barcode, and QR code, which we'll use for the application later. And here we're going to take the ownership and just transfer it to the retail store to save a little bit of time. We'll submit that transaction. So now that process cut has been made into a retail cut and changed ownership to the retail store with its hash and timestamp. And then the last transaction, we will actually take that piece of meat and sell it to a consumer. We'll go ahead and drop that code in. And what it's doing is taking that retailer, selling that retail cut of meat to this consumer. And once that's complete, now you've seen how our blockchain network operates from taking the cow and the farmer all the way through the process of selling it to a processor, cutting it up into a process chunk, into a retail chunk, and then giving it to the retailer to sell to a consumer. Thank you.